On the line with us today is Jesse James Dupree. Welcome, Jesse.
Hey, welcome, Jesse.
What up, fellas? How y'all doing?
We are super excited. We don't want to waste a minute of this podcast. Jesse, one of the things that I think is really cool when, we've many of us have obviously heard of you. A lot of our listeners have as well, but there's always people out there that are like, who the hell is Jesse James Dupree? I don't even want to take a chance at missing something, but what's the down and dirty paragraph on, and I know it's got to be difficult to pare it down, but what's the down and dirty paragraph on who the hell is Jesse James Dupree?
Jesse James Dupree is a lucky son of a bitch. That's exactly who I am. I've been very, very blessed to have all my dreams come true with success in Jackyl. With the guys in the band is over the years they've become brothers, and they always have been from day one. And we just had an incredible run thus far, and it's not even nowhere near close to being done. I mean, celebrated 25 years this year, put out a 25 year hit CD, if you will, or I mean, call it a greatest. I just call it a 25 year reflection on what we were able to accomplish thus far. And but just having a great run. I've been able to diversify over the years. I was always self-managed with the band. I was fortunate enough to have the David Geffen Company and John Kolodner wrap up around me with putting an education into me that I've never had, and I've diversified into doing things with other record industry ventures such as consulting, several labels, marketing and partnership plans. Total Scott Weiland double CD box set that I put through exclusive through Best Buy. I also put Nora Jones' career retrospective DVD release through Best Buy. Austin City Limits through all the bar jam truck stops and Walmarts. I've done a lot of things that behind the scenes that a lot of people probably would scratch their head on. But I also consulted Sidney Franks' company. He brought Grey Goose to America, and he brought Jägermeister to America. And Grey Goose and Jägermeister are two huge brands. But I found myself consulting their company, and after between the consultancies at the record label level and the consultancies at the beverage level and such, and I also consulted Zippo lighters for 5 years, and I just started realizing that I needed to, instead of doing all that work for those guys, I needed to be building my own brand.
Do it yourself, yeah?
Yeah, I started the Jesse James Bourbon, and it's just been an amazing run with that. Going on a little over 5 years now, and we're over 150,000 cases plus sold.
Holy shit!
Jesse James Bourbon, and that's only in about 20 plus states. I mean, we're just now this year getting opened up to every state in the country, and so we're very excited about that. You can go to Jesse James Spirits Facebook page or jessejamesspirits.com, and you can message us if there's a store that you're trying to find our bourbon, the Jesse James Bourbon. We've got the regular bourbon, the honey bourbon, the spice bourbon, and some Jesse James Tennessee whiskey. But if you're looking for any of those products or all of them, at your local store and they don't have it, then you can message us at either the Jesse James Spirit or on the website, jessejamesspirit.com, and we can we can help you to get the product into your store so you can check it out. It's what I like to call Liquid America. We went in and we built a distillery down in Trimble, Tennessee. It's in the far northwestern tip of the state, and it's a little town of about 650 people, and the town was about to go bankrupt. They were going to file to be unincorporated, and we put the distillery in, and then we put a little barbecue restaurant named Miss Dickey's, named after my partner Mike Ballard's sister, who we lost to breast cancer. And now the little city is not only not filing to be bankrupt, they just bought a new police car and building a new fire station.
That's a great story. That's a story in itself right there.
And there's a railroad track that sits 15 foot from the barrel house. So our barrels of whiskey are sitting there every day, and 5 times a day a locomotive comes through and vibrates the barrels, and that moves that juice out of the wood and the charcoal. And,
whoa!
And so that's why we say on our marketing that it's Locomotive Agitated. It's really, really a great whiskey. Very proud of it. And but it got the Jesse James. I've also been working with the Harley-Davidson company. Been consulting with those guys for the last couple of years, and such an honor to be working with them. And then I also had the honor of producing
And from all accounts, Jesse, hell of a job. Everybody that was there had an awesome time. So the pieces that you were working on, I mean, I heard everything was just amazing.
Well, just the company is everything you would expect from, an American company. I mean, the people that work there so represent that brand in that way. And I think Scott Bolstad, and whether it be Scott Bolstad or Tim Budzine or Thor. Thor's a bit of a legend himself.
He is, yeah.
With his imposing physique.
Yeah, you probably don't want to mess with that guy.
Yeah, and you look at him, and I love it because I get the same thing when people look at me and they underestimate what you're about, and you look at Thor and you think, well, here's a bouncer or from somewhere, but which, by the way, he was a bouncer in the early days for a Jackyl show when we.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, years ago, yeah. But then you find out that he actually passed the bar exam, and he's an attorney.
Yeah.
So but I love it. But Thor and Tim and Ann and Chris Urban and Scott Bolstad and JT and Paul, just all the guys. I mean, I can rattle them off, not because I work with them as much as just because we're friends. And we've just been having such a great run working together. And again, such an honor that they trusted. I mean, it was a huge faith and a big trust that they took in us to produce that event with them. And we did it in partnership with them. When I said we produced it, I had to sign some responsibility to pay for some forklifts and stuff. But I mean, we all did it together.
Well, Jesse, one of the things you said, you diversified, and I mean, you are involved with so much stuff. What's taking up the day-to-day activity besides Jackyl? And I mean, most people have already either listened or a fan or follow or have been following Jackyl. But besides Jackyl, what's taking up your majority of your day today?
It all does. I mean, and it's all synergetic. So, we're about to go out and do some Jackyl shows, and we'll be out doing the Jackyl shows, and I'll have bottle signings for the Jesse James Bourbon, and we'll do the bottle signings at some Harley dealerships, and he just all lifts everything up, and we celebrate the fundamentals of rock and roll all the way around, whether it be Harley-Davidson, Jesse James Bourbon, or a Jackyl concert.
And as far as Jackyl goes, I mean, for the viewers that maybe they've listened to the music but they haven't seen the video or haven't seen you live, tell us about some of the unique ways of playing.
The unique what again?
The ways that are very unique in how you play instruments in Jackyl. Tell our your listeners about that.
Oh, you want to know about the chainsaw? What a more definitive, it's a very definitive instrument for rock and roll. It's loud, it's aggressive, it's abrasive, it's destructive, it's stanky, it's everything that and next to a Harley-Davidson is the damnedest rock and roll sound ever is that chainsaw winding out. So nothing can get loud enough for us anyway. But people ask me all the time, you think about, do you still play the chainsaw? Does Angus still wear his schoolboy outfit? Does Iron Maiden still carry Eddie around? Does Kiss still play rock and roll all night, party every day? I mean, and wear their makeup. I mean, it's who we are, and we don't do anything but embrace it. And we're proud of it, and proud to play it. And along with every other thing, I stand along. We won't let rain down on me. Locked and loaded, encore. Push comes to shove. I mean, just because I'm drunk don't mean you're right. I mean, just all the show is well rounded, and it's not about coming to see a show. It's about coming to be part of it.
Part of the experience. Yeah. Well, I don't want to take up all. I know Mark has questions, but one of the things.
Mark's still there.
Yeah, Mark's still here.
Yeah, but this is a typical podcast. See, Jesse. John just babbles on and on and on, and we all roll our eyes.
Well, I don't know whether I'm babbling. I'm excited to work with this guy. I want to talk to him. I want to ask him some questions.
Mark just sits there and looks pretty.
Yeah, that's right. I do look pretty.
Yeah, I wish that you could see him. You wouldn't call him pretty.
No, Jesse, I wish you could see John. He's sitting here wearing fingerless gloves.
Yeah, the red, white, and blue American gloves, Jesse. You seen those Harley-Davidson red, white, and blue fingerless gloves they just came out with?
I have not seen those.
I'm going to send you a pair.
Sounds like a must-have.
I'm gonna send you a pair, and I'm gonna estimate your hand size is probably large. So I'm gonna send you a pair. Afterwards, I'll connect with your people, and I'll get you a T-shirt and a pair of these fingerless gloves. And you're gonna thank me afterwards. You're gonna say, I can't believe how I lived without these red, white, and blue gloves.
Well, I'll thank you now.
Well, they're great gloves, but why are you wearing them for a podcast?
Because I like them. Anyway, Jesse, real quick here, just because I know Mark has some questions that are probably going to be boring, but Full Throttle Saloon, 2 questions. 1, was that really you? Is that really the Jesse James that is real when we watch on reality TV? And then 2, tell us about your experience in coming to New Hampshire, to Laconia, and like interactions with police and stuff.
Yeah, we had a bit of a time when we brought the Full Throttle Saloon to Laconia. Yeah, to answer your question, yes. I mean, the reality show was exactly that. I mean, what you see is what you get. I mean, I don't think anybody would say that I'm any different, in any other situation than I am with what we did with the TV show. The 7 years we did it before the bar burnt down. When the bar burnt down, we had to back up on the show part because we were, without a home. But we went down the road. We bought 600 acres. We now have the Pappy Hoyle campground and the Full Throttle Saloon right there on the 600 acres. You go to Pappy Hoyle, HOEL, campground.com and check out the place. Make your reservations for next year, which is the 20th anniversary of the Full Throttle Saloon next year. So we're excited about that.
I bet.
But yeah, we did that. And as far as but what was the big part of the question you asked?
Well, you came out to New Hampshire and local law enforcement.
We brought the Full Throttle Saloon to New Hampshire, and they we kind of drained that event. Everybody was coming down to where the Full Throttle was, and so we had the fire marshal and the state police and the city police and everybody and their brother was down there, just sitting on top of us. They would, if 2 people would leave, they'd let 2 people come in. I mean, they really sit on top of, of how many people they let into the area that we were holding as the Full Throttle Saloon. But New Hampshire just got some really unfortunate laws. I mean, it's probably the strictest state I've ever been in. I mean, it's one of those things where they said you can't stand at the bar, and if you start dancing, if you're holding a drink in your hand and you start dancing, the bar owner can get a ticket.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, they were just maybe they were just riding on us, but it was all those kind of things that were just very difficult for us to produce a true Full Throttle experience. So I think we got through it. I think the only reason why we got through it without them putting us in jail or running us out of town was because we had TV cameras on us. I think that was one thing that kind of saved our neck. But they were good guys. They were just doing their job. And so I'll tell you a quick story that happened was that probably set the stage for them to be up on us was we came across the country with all of the Full Throttle equipment and the whole crew and stuff. Of course, we looked like a band of gypsies, and we had just like the Beverly Hillbillies and stuff hanging off the side of the trailers and stuff. And we come across the country, and we came across into New Hampshire. And when we did, they pulled us off over to the side of the road, and they wrote us all these tickets for all these different, and lights on the trailers not working, or tire being too bald, or this stuff, the stuff on the trailer not being secured the way they felt it should be secured, whatever. They wrote all these tickets, and there's a whole caravan of us, coming across the country, bringing the Full Throttle Saloon mobile setup over there. And so we took our tickets and we went on into Laconia, and they had a big press conference a couple of days after we were there, and the governor and senator and mayor and all these people were at the press conference, and they were all up giving their speeches and stuff, and they welcomed us to the event. We'd like to welcome the Full Throttle Saloon to the event, to the Laconia Bike Week. And I took that opportunity to stand up, and I said, we're glad to be here. We're excited about being here. And I said, but I got to tell you something. When we came across that state line, they pulled us over and commenced to writing us a whole mess of tickets. And I pulled them out of my pocket. I had all the tickets. and I said, they commenced to writing us a whole mess of tickets. And I said, I'd like to take this opportunity right now to hand these over to the governor and get him to do the neighborly thing. And I reached over and I touched the governor on his shoulder with them. Well, then the person beside him grabbed them, and then they passed it down the line to the senator, or the mayor, or whatever, and everybody got a kick out of it, right? But it still kind of put him on the spot. So after the news conference, everybody I'm in trouble. And I went over, he pulled me in a back room, and he goes, we're going to take care of all of these, except for this one. And he handed me the one back. He goes, and don't ever do anything like that again.
Oh, man. Well, Jesse, you can't be surprised by that reception. I mean, when you roll into a conservative New England town with a name like Jesse James, I mean, there's a certain, there's certain baggage that comes with that. So I'm curious about how you arrived at Jesse James. Were you named Jesse James after the Outlaw? Tell us about your parents. How'd that happen?
Yeah, my dad was a machinist at Lockheed Aircraft. He got hired there back in the 60s with a fake high school diploma, which you can imagine looked like total hell in the 60s, what a fake diploma looked like. But the guy gave him a break and hired him because I was sitting on my mom's lap and she was pregnant with my brother. And so he had a good education working at Lockheed Aircraft, and he rode a Harley-Davidson my entire life. Never hardly ever saw his hair is longer than mine. And you ever wonder who Satan falls to his knees and begs for forgiveness from? It's my father. and I'm not even kidding you. If you ever say, who is Satan scared of? Who does he fall to his knees and beg for forgiveness? And it's my father. My dad is hell. And but anyway, my dad named me James, and he wanted to bring me my brother Frank, and my mom wouldn't let him. And my brother's name's Danny. But they named me that, and it's served me well. But make no mistake about it, I call the Jesse James Bourbon, proudly, but it's not my bourbon. I mean, everybody knows the original Jesse James that so many of us that share a name, kind of, right off of. I mean, I'm just another a-hole that got, just another one of many assholes that got named Jesse James. But, the original Jesse James is who we all reflect back on, and it's that outlaw spirit that's in every bottle of the Jesse James whiskey. And people that love to go to NASCAR events, country shows, rock shows, bike rallies, ride their Harley-Davidson across the country, whatever,
Mark, I didn't tell you this story, that I had heard a story about Jesse James that you probably won't read or see on the internet, but he's such a detail-oriented guy that he got somewhere along the line, and Jesse, obviously this is your story, but I'm going to tell it, is you were hired somewhere to help with promoting a venue of some sort, and you went in and you went and bought paint and cleaner, and he repainted the women's bathroom because they were trying to generate sales. They were trying to increase sales.
No. I came off the road in 1988. I came off the road, and because I found out I was going to be a father, and the girl I was living with got pregnant, and I thought, well, hell, I've got to come off the road. I've got to get a real job and do the right thing. And I didn't want to go back to working construction, so I went into a bar it was an Atlanta bar that was failing. I mean, the guy was having a hard time. And I had always played across the street, across town at the Happening Bar. And I never really had a history of playing this place, but the guy knew me. His name was Danny Fisher, and he knew me from being in a band that drew a lot of big people over, a lot of big crowds over at the other bar, his competition. And I went into his bar one day, and he was sitting there, and there wasn't anybody in the bar. And I went in and I said, "Hey, you need to let me manage your bar." And he said, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, you need to let me manage your bar." And he said, "Huh?" And I could tell he was thinking, "Why is this guy wanting to manage my bar?" And I said, "I tell you what, you give me $100 right now, and I'll make changes today that you will notice an immediate difference in your bar." So I thought about it a minute, and he pulled out $100 and he gave it to me. And I went to Lowe's, and I got pine sol, I got hinges, I got mirrors, lights, paint, and I went into the women's restroom, and I just completely overhauled it. Put arrows up, painted the walls, painted the graffiti off of it, put latches on the stalls, put, pine sol, everything, the whole 9 yards. And all night long, the girl coming up to me, "Oh, Danny, this is great, this is great." And I looked at him, I said, "The life of your bar is the women's restroom." And so I started managing the bar. But that's not me being smart as much as I'm just observant of why, because I traveled to so many bars across the country. I
Isn't that a great story?
That's fantastic. I'm going to go look at our women's restroom right now and see what we got to do about it.
Our women's restroom is pretty damn clean, Mark.
It's clean, but I don't know if it has the amenities that Jesse's talking about.
Especially if you squat when you pee.
Yeah, right. Definitely. Which John does.
Mark squats when he pees. Guaranteed. Anyway,
hey,
Mark, go ahead, ask your questions, because I know you've been dying to ask Jesse.
Well, I'm curious about this facet of Mighty Loud Enterprises called Mixer. Jesse, what's Mixer about? It's kind of a confusing thing.
Mixer is a proprietary back-end research platform that plugs into radio and television. It's for gathering research, and it gives the listeners a chance to have a say in everything the radio station plays. So it's just a really cool new technology that we've developed over the last 10 years, and very excited about it. And we're up on a handful of stations in the North Midwest, and the business is up and functioning with that. But we're just at the beginning of the year. We're about to roll out a brand new platform, and that we're looking to take nationwide. And it's just an amazing research and listener loyalty program.
So it's an interactive app that allows listeners to steer the mix on the station?
Well, it's just like whether it be on their phone, via text, or via app, or online at .com, the listener can rate songs in real time.
I see.
And they get points for rating the songs. And they go into those points go into a queue, and they can cash those points in for things that are on the radio station store. I mean, we've done everything from autographed guitars or T-shirts and things like that to
that's cool.
To trips, where you could take your points and bid on trip just to go to California to see Metallica play in their hometown. I mean, we've done just some amazing. We actually helped Papa John's Pizza recently determine where they were putting their new pizza place up in Madison, Wisconsin. So it's a well-rounded platform. I started filing patents for it about 12 years ago, and I had about 5 of the patents approved. And so it's the biggest thing I've ever done, personally, business-wise. It got to stay on top of it this next year as we roll out the skippable, national plan.
Hey, Jesse. I don't know if you know this about John, but John fancies himself to be a bourbon aficionado. He drinks fancy ass bourbon. I mean, stuff like
Blanton's.
Happy Van Winkle.
No, I drink Blanton's.
Blanton's.
It's the same place.
And you do it with your pinky up.
Oh, frig you.
You know what? I tell you this, and I say this. I don't know if you're saying that because you've read me saying it somewhere else or something, but we taste tested the Jesse James single barrel Tennessee whiskey that we put out. We taste sampled that against every brown liquor we could find, and Blanton's was the closest to it.
Is that right?
Well, I'm gonna go to my local liquor store, and I'm gonna ask them to special order this and see if we can get some into the area here, and we'll do that. We'll happily drink that.
Bay State Distribution is our distributor up there. Bay State.
Bay State. Got it.
So reach out to Bay State, or tell them to reach out to Bay State. They don't already have it. They can get it in. But you let me know. I mean, and the reason it tastes like Blanton's the most is because Blanton's and the Jesse James single barrel Tennessee whiskey have that well-rounded flavors of. You can taste the sugars from the wood, you can taste the charcoal, and you can taste the corn in the whiskey. And the one thing about the Jesse James Tennessee whiskey is we use local corn from Western Tennessee over there for local farmers, and it's just such a unique, great corn.
Do they have tours at this facility, Jesse?
Yeah, in Trimble, Tennessee. Come on down.
Nice.
So Jesse, you're distilling in Tennessee, and I know Kentucky is sort of proud to call themselves the bourbon capital.
The single barrel Tennessee whiskey is from Trimble, Tennessee, and the bourbon is from Kentucky. So.
I see. So is there any kind of rivalry between those states for this liquid America?
I mean, never. I mean, people want to automatically go to the wives' tale about what stuff is. But let me tell you something. There's some great bourbons coming out of places like Colorado and Indiana, and I mean this bourbon is just an art unto its own, and there's nothing that says it has to come from any state. You just can't call it Kentucky bourbon if it don't come from Kentucky, or Indiana bourbon if it don't come from Indiana.
Right. Hey Jesse, I know you're a super busy guy, and it was I don't want to waste any time here, but we're running into 25 minutes, and I also want to just ask you what are things you're working on right now that our listeners can kind of go on and see some newer things that you're working on before we sign off?
Well, just follow us follow me on the Jesse James Dupree at Instagram, and then follow that Jackyl, official Jackyl, and at Instagram, the Jesse James Spirits Facebook pages. Just that kind. Just follow us, and you'll see all the stuff that's going on. And we got check out jackyl.com for our upcoming tour dates. We got some great tour dates that are coming up, and hopefully we'll get up to Laconia sooner rather than later.
We would love that. That would be absolutely fantastic. Well, that would be very, very cool.
Yeah, it would.
So I guess we're going to sign off. I know you got to get back to work, Jesse. We sincerely appreciate your time very, very much. So at some point in time, I'd love to circle back with you and just pick up where we left off with some of the stories out there, just because I've got a bunch more that I wanted to ask them about, but you took up a lot of time, Mark.
Yeah, I took a lot of time. I want to know
Have
more.
a great day. Thanks for the time, and rock me, roll me, jackal me off. We will see you down the road.
All
Thanks,
right,
Jesse.
Thank you.